Hey, I was finally able to find the Arnold Toht figure from the Indiana Jones Hasbro Adventure Series line, which means I can officially finish the first wave of figures. He's completely sold out in my area, so I did have to pay full price. I didn't get him on a clearance. In fact, I didn't get him in my city. I had to travel by plane, and I just coincidentally happened to find him in a store, so obviously I picked him up as soon as I saw him. Now that I have all of these figures, it means that I can officially build the arc, and I have an actual complete set, so it feels nice to have all of them together. This is him out of the packaging. It's crazy that they made a figure based on this character, but I'm all for it. It's really cool to have someone like this. As I mentioned, he includes the final piece of the arc, which I will build at the end of this video. He also comes with an alternate hand. He's the only other figure besides Indy to have alternate hands in the set. He has a rubberized hat that doesn't come attached to any of his heads, which is great. That means that it actually can go on both heads. He has a German pistol, and he has an alternate head of a melting face. Again, an insane figure. I think this is one of the better face likenesses used for the Indiana Jones Hasbro line. It's a little hit or miss the line in total, but it's definitely more hit than it is miss in my opinion. The only one that I kind of had a problem with was Salah. His glasses are actually molded into his head, which is really nice. Glasses on action figures like this, if detachable, are usually also prone to be missable. So I like that it's actually molded onto this one, and it's also molded onto the other head as well. He has a little bit of extra articulation where he can move his head, but his neck also seems to have some articulation, and the tie there kind of moves along with it. It's pretty nice. I don't think I have a figure that has this kind of head articulation. His jacket is actually entirely removable, and we'll take a look at that now. It doesn't do too much. It's just a rubberized piece. It kind of feels like it's the same material as the hat. It just simply sits over him. It can even kind of stand on its own there. So it's really cool that that's actually a removable piece. He has the same articulation as the other figures, but what I like about him is that compared to those other Indiana Jones figures, this is a genuine period piece figure. He's wearing an era-accurate suit, and that was the whole reason as to why I wanted the Indiana Jones line. I really like period piece action figures, and it's not likely that we would get characters set from the 30s, 40s, 50s in action figure form outside of this line. He does have like a little badge pin there that is potentially supposed to be a different form of an insignia that Hasbro did not want to print onto a toy. I don't really have a whole lot to say about him other than I like the fact that he's in a fancy business suit. Like I said, his accessories are pretty easy to apply onto him. His rubberized hat just goes on like this. It kind of makes me wonder why Indiana Jones' hat wasn't separate from his head. He does not include a holster for his pistol, so if you don't want him to have it, you'll just have to kind of have it sitting on the ground, but he can hold it in his trigger finger hand. Looks pretty cool. But you do have to choose though, because his other hand is actually the one of the medallion burned into his hand, which does replace his gun-wielding hand. It's a really tight joint to kind of get on there, but you can see it looks pretty accurate to the movie, and it's definitely one of the two more defining features of that character from the movie, because the second defining feature is his melting face. Now, getting the head on and off is a little tricky, at least for me. It's because of that weird extra neck joint. It always starts kind of like pulling out, and then his actual neck part kind of starts rotating around, so it's pretty tough. I had to use some hot water in order to get the head on, but this is what he looks like, and it's really cool when there's blood or gore effects on an action figure, especially one that's supposed to be aimed towards children. You can kind of see, I can kind of get a shot there, but you can see that his eyes have kind of rolled to the back of his head. It's a really gnarly looking action figure, and also the hat does fit on his head, which is just a really great added piece of detail. Not personally sure how I would display it. It's a lot more iconic and recognizable if it's like this, but it'll also be like the one corpse standing next to, ideally, hopefully, a very good amount of Indiana Jones action figures, so you could always go and get two. Now, as I said, he does include the final pieces to build the arc. They are the exact same parts that Marion comes with, including all of the details on here, but now I will go and assemble the Ark of the Covenant. This is every character from the wave and their respective piece of the arc. Belloc included the handles, Salah included the lid and the ground plane, Indy included the little decorative pieces because of course the main figure is going to come with the least important part. Marion and Toht both came with the walls that built the arc. Assembly is pretty easy. There's instructions on each of the figures' boxes, and I think inside as well that tell you how to do it. The walls can connect together and they both connect onto the base plate. There's some little hooks that they can attach into. The handles are 3 separate pieces, so they are able to fit through their little slots. Indy's little decorative part goes on top of Salah's roof, and then the roof just simply closes in. It's cool as well, actually. It feels like the same type of cheapish material that's on Marion's frying pan and Salah's shovel. but because it has that shiny glossy tone that's like the fertility idol, yeah, it looks pretty cool. I thought I'd be a little let down or disappointed by this, but it's nice. I think the best thing about this line, or the worst thing, depending on how you feel about spending money on one of these toys, the build an artifact for Wave 2 is a much cooler one in my opinion at least. But this one looks pretty neat. On the inside is nothing, but you can see that it kind of has like a really nice little reflective sheen to it, but it is a crate. So what I thought I would do is put all of the accessories from every figure in here, because I just think that that makes for a really good storage cabinet. It means that all of those pieces aren't going to get lost, all those extra indie hands and the different variants of the whip. So I don't know if this was intentional or not, but this is definitely what I'll be using to keep all of the Indiana Jones accessories. But that does it for the Indiana Jones Hasbro Adventure Series Wave 1. I look forward to collecting Series 2 and maybe some of 3. I already have some of the Series 2 figures, so I will be covering those very soon. If you enjoyed this little review, liking and subscribing does help support this little channel. Thank you very much.